Our review of Episode 7, Much Ado About Boimler, is up after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and one of the things that I like about cartoons, especially classic cartoons, and we're going to go into that in a moment, is the fact that you can do things in cartoons that you cannot in real life. Now, in the case of Lower Decks, we found that special effects, like the transporter effect, for instance, does not have to go to a special effects house. They just draw them beaming down, and that's something relatively easy to do when everything else is cartooned. But what we see here is a number of things that just would be difficult or not very believably done in real life. For instance, one of the characters in this episode has 3 arms. Now, if you remember seeing any of the TV versions of, or even the movie version of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Zaphod's second head was always problematic. Especially in the TV show, the one head was always asleep or something like that, and just hanging there, and on occasion it would rear itself up. It was basically a puppet, and never looked very real, obviously. The more advanced special effects of the movie had kind of a slot machine kind of rotation for the head, but once again, that looked kind of fakey. So in the cartoons, you can do this for this 3-armed character and for it to look relatively natural. Also, the dog that is featured. This is one of the few episodes in which they give more to do with Rutherford and Vendy. And this time, Vendy does a genetically engineered dog, and it behaves just like a dog, except when it doesn't. Usually when she's looking off, its head opens up and bats fly out, or other things that are otherwise disturbing to other members of the crew. And in fact, there is one reference to the Xindi that's in there as well. So that was kind of a clever device that they had with the dog, and that could only be done in a cartoon, believably enough. And that makes me think about some of the classic cartoons in the Warner Brothers era, especially. There was a director by the name of Bob Clampett who believed that you didn't want to make realistic cartoons. Disney at the time in the 40s was making cartoons that were incredibly realistic. All of the characters, the only thing was the talking animals, but otherwise the humans and all of that looked as real as it could be. And with the idea of that to compete with, the directors at Warner Brothers decided to do movies that are films, shorts, cartoons. The Warner Brothers decided to do cartoons that were decidedly not realistic. And Bob Clampett was the wildest of them all, in which the gags about the bugging out eyeballs, the stretching of a neck, the reaching through a telephone and dragging somebody to the other side was all his idea. And in fact, one of the more famous cartoons that he did, which was for MGM, where it was a Droopy cartoon, where Droopy is after this wolf. And everywhere the wolf tries to hide out, Droopy is just standing there waiting for him. And his reaction to it is with sound effects and overly emphasized reactions, was what Bob Clampett was famous for. And it made me think of that watching this episode where, someone screams and then the shadow of the character screams as well. So in this, we see this in the dog. We see it also in some of the aliens that are featured in the ship that's going to the farm. This is all led by a transporter accident. This is something that you also see in a lot of Trek episodes, something goes wrong with the transporter. Frankly, if cars were as mistake prone as transporters were, no one would ride in them. And I doubt that anybody would in their day with the dependability rate that the transporters had. Dr. McCoy probably was right all along. But anyway, it leads to kind of an interesting loop in the plot of a transporter enhancement that Rutherford is making that causes Boimler to be not fully materialized, and that is what sends him off to a planet to heal. And we won't go any further in that because there's a bunch of spoilers in there. But anyway, the main plot, which is a ship that has been lost, and the Cerritos is sent to investigate that. Also, we have another episode, another situation where that we've seen in The Next Generation, where the captain is off on a secret mission. In fact, with the entire bridge crew, they're off on a secret mission, and so they have a replacement captain, and they make reference to Jellicoe in doing this. Turns out this captain is someone that is familiar with Mariner, and without going into details about that, I find for the first time they show Mariner to be a whole lot more broken than we thought. She's very capable, but there's a reason that she keeps getting demoted. It's something she does to herself, and we're not quite sure why she does that to herself. So this is something that may be investigated a little further as the series goes on. But they bring up something new, Division 14, which is dealing with people who have had great accidents or exposure to radiation, including delta waves, which are what affected Captain Pike. And so there's some reference to that. One of the ships has an NX designation, which in everything but the original Enterprise series meant experimental ship. But interestingly, the main plot was very much a regular kind of show, to where they go in and they discover what the problem is and make a narrow escape from it. And it is a real satisfying show on a number of levels, with the bridge crew substituting for the regular bridge crew, with the Doctor, with Rutherford and Vendy, and to a lesser extent Mariner. So interesting show. Much ado about Boimler. Boimler really plays a fairly small part in this, but is not as cringeworthy as he usually is. Some of the jokes really do hit home, and a lot of good sight gags in this one. So I recommend this particular one here in Lower Decks. So I'd like to know what you think about it. Please put it in the comments. And also remember, if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. That'll help the channel grow. So just click the subscribe button, and have also, if your phone is set to where it can receive notifications, that's good too. And you can click on the bell then, and then the next video that comes up from us will leave you a quick email saying, hey, there's a new video. So thank you for watching. Until next time, don't go far.